time with family, staying active, doing what you love. We understand how important it is to live your best life, even as times are changing. At Holzer, we strive to help every patient achieve their best health during every stage of life. With more options for care through in-person and virtual visits, we are dedicated to providing you with excellent care every time. Live your best life with Holzer.
Hello and welcome to the Talk of the Town podcast. I'm Josh Wellington, the Executive Director of the Gallia County Chamber of Commerce, and joining me today is Chairman and CEO of the Ohio Valley Bank, Mr. Tom Wiseman. Tom, thanks for coming in.
Well, thanks very much for having me.
You've been an active part of the Chamber for years and years, former president of the Chamber, and we appreciate all that you do for the community and have done. And now with the Ohio Valley Bank, if you could touch a little bit kind of on your background. I know you're born and raised locally, so you've been here, contributing for a long time, throughout your careers. Just kind of maybe touch on kind of your background leading up to becoming the CEO of Ohio Valley Bank.
Well, as Jeff Smith, our former chairman, would say, I'm a homegrown tomato.
Right.
I've been here, born and raised here in Gallipolis. My family's been here for, I think, 3 generations now. So grew up in town in the city of Gallipolis. Went to school right over here at Washington Elementary and then Gallia Academy High School, and went on to college and came back and got into the family insurance business. Did that for 30 years and got on the bank board in 1992 and served as a director, an independent director, and then became the lead director, I think in 2005 or somewhere around in that neighborhood. And then in 2010, things kind of came together for both me and the bank, and I was able to come over to the bank as president. And, of course, I've been there now 10 years or more.
Right. The bank is an institution that, as well as your family insurance business, the bank has been here for years and years. What can you give us a little bit of history as to the start of the bank, kind of what it's grown into now?
Sure. Here we are. We're on the eve of our 150th anniversary, so
wow.
It's fitting that we talk about that. The bank was started in 1872 by Alfred Hinking. He was the first president, and it started actually in what was called the Schober Block Building, which is where Dollar General is today. And they rented space there for years, and then in 1895, I think it is, they decided to build their first permanent home, which is on State and 2nd. And they did that. That was called the French Square at the time. I think they started in 1895, finished construction in 96, and moved in. And that was the permanent home for a number of years until 1958. I think they came to a point where they needed to make a decision on whether they were going to stay there or find a bigger location that offered more space and parking and that sort of thing. And so they were kind of in this quandary of, do you remodel the old building that they were in, or do you go buy a piece of property and start over? And they did buy a piece of property, the property where the main bank is today. And they did make that decision to move over there, and did so in 1961. Of course, it gave them off-street parking, which was a novelty at the time. Right. Drive-through windows, which were the first bank to have that in Gallia County. So it was really a forward-thinking thing to do at the time. Those things we take for granted now. But so it was kind of interesting for us when we got the opportunity to repurchase the original bank building. I won't say we jumped at the opportunity, but we immediately became interested in trying to do something with it. A fellow by the name of Arthur Miller was very instrumental in kind of stoking our fire. He pushed us pretty hard to get involved in renovating that piece of property, and so we did. And of course, you can see what we've got today, and we're very proud of it.
As you should be.
And it's worked out very well for, I think, all concerned.
And for those who haven't had the opportunity to tour or to be in that new building, it's an absolute showpiece for the downtown, both inside and out. It's just an amazing renovation that you guys have done over there, and I think that as we come out of the restrictions that we're kind of under and things, and people are able to utilize those spaces more, I think it'll just become even a bigger, tremendous asset for Gallia County, especially just the downtown area. We've had people ask a half dozen times, what's the chances that we can get something going up there on that roof for the 4th of July? And I'm like, well, I don't know if you can see over the trees or not, but that does sound like a pretty good viewing spot. So we're definitely, happy to see that, and we're very pleased to be able to give Ohio Valley Bank the Beautification Award last year for the work that you guys have done on that building, and just excited for things to come. You guys, anybody who's been in this area at all and has listened to radio, TV, read the newspaper, they've seen one slogan that is synonymous with the Ohio Valley Bank, and that's community first. It's easy to come up with a slogan like that and it kind of be the poster, so to speak, but to actually make the difference, to make that, to where people see, yes, that is, they're not just saying it, they're doing it. What is it about that slogan? And you've been a tremendous kind of force to push that along in your tenure. What is it about that Community First project that means so much to Ohio Valley Bank?
Well, you're right. It's easy to come up with a slogan or a catchphrase or something like that. But as we were going through strategic planning several years ago, and we were trying to determine what our mission really is in the communities that we serve, we determined that we need to do whatever we can do to improve those communities. And as we talked about those things and how we could do that, it just became obvious that we needed to put our community first. In every community that we're in, of course, Gallipolis is our home community, and it's probably a little easier to do that here. But even in Milton, West Virginia, and Barboursville, and Jackson, Waverly, some of those places, we have to rely on our folks in those areas to let us know what those communities need,
right,
to help them and to improve them. But it's a way of life. It's not a slogan. It's what we do. It's what our people believe, that they can really make a difference in the communities that they serve. And when they make that difference and make the community better, it'll make the bank better eventually. Mm-hmm. And it's very important, I think, to everybody that comes to work at Ohio Valley Bank. We talk about it from the first day they're there, and we try to support them in their efforts to personally make a difference in the community that they happen to be in.
And in talking about that, you have a thing that, until I was really active in the chamber and got to see it firsthand through, Jenny Swain being on the board and working with Kyla Carpenter, you have these things called impact days. Explain to the people who don't know, because like I said, I was unaware until I was actually able to see it firsthand, exactly what impact days are and how maybe the employees have taken to those.
Well, we decided as we were encouraging our employees to go out and find things that they could do in the community to have a positive impact, we needed to put our money where our mouth is.
Right.
And so what we do is we start each employee with one impact day, and they can earn up to 3 if they use them each year. But what we encourage them to do as an individual or as a group of employees is to go out and find a project that will truly impact the community that they're in. Here locally, we've been involved in the Railroad Museum, mm-hmm. for instance, the Special Olympics. We have a group that goes out to the senior citizens about once a month. Now that COVID is getting behind us again, I think they're back to doing that. And there's just a number of projects and things that we have been involved in that we truly think has a positive impact in the communities that we're in.
Another group of employees that you have brought you an idea a few years ago to help those in need in the Christmas season with the Christmas Express. We were fortunate enough to be able to make a contribution earlier this week of some toys for those who are less fortunate. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how that started and where that's headed?
Well, that truly was an employee-driven project. Brenda Henson and Angie Kennard kind of spearheaded that effort. I know they started, I don't know how many years it's been now, but I can remember when they used to pull the Foster Trucking Company trucks in the back lot and put big bows and so forth around them. But they do an outstanding job of involving a number of employees, a number of community people in raising money and then going out and buying Christmas gifts for families that can't afford to do it themselves. And it's a tremendous thing that they do, and it truly is. It's right down our community first mission, and it's just a very worthwhile project.
Speaking of Christmas, people will notice, especially starting a week from today, with the lighting of the Gallia lights, which has been a tremendous asset for our community when it comes to tourism and just getting our community out in front of the masses. You talk to people from all over the state and other states who drive here specifically to see that light display. And the Ohio Valley Bank made a large contribution to that display, and I know you guys are very proud of it, as you should be. So if people see the white picket fence in I guess it would be the northern corner up by right across from the bank building, they'll notice something very special.
Well, I'd like to take credit for the idea. It was not our idea. It was the Gallia Police and Lights Committee's idea that they wanted a pixel tree. I didn't have a clue what a pixel tree was at the time, but they sent me an email that you could had a link to a demonstration of a pixel tree, and it was pretty exciting, pretty spectacular, and we were glad to be able to help with the financing of that particular part of what they're doing in the park. What they do in the park is just unbelievable.
It is.
And when we moved over into our new building, I've got an office that looks out on the park, and I realize now how many people, how many hours they put in. You do the same thing from here,
that's what I was
I'm
going to
sure.
say. My window looks directly at the park out of my office, and the amount, you'll be sitting there and there won't be a lot going on that morning, and by the afternoon or late morning, there's machinery moving, there's people unloading box trailers, and it takes an army of people to get this park to where it needs to go.
It really does, and they work hard at it. They do an outstanding job, and then, the payback, of course, is when you see all the cars that circle that park, starting, I guess, next Wednesday, and until they take them down. But it's really a unbelievable community effort.
I remember getting a call last year, and of course last year it was a lot of driving around it because of restrictions. Not a lot were in walking around, but I got a call on a Friday evening about, 7 or 8 o'clock, and they said, "What is there something going on down?" Like, it hadn't dawned on them, the lights. They said, "Is there, is a water main break? Is there a fire?" Like, they said, "I have been sitting in traffic since the Silver Bridge, and I've been in traffic for like an hour and a half, and I'm to Tuscany." I said, "What is going on?" I said, "People are looking at the lights." He said, "Oh, there's no way that's the crowd, the line to get to the lights." And I said, "Well, when you get there, you'll remember that's what it is." And sure enough, there were people lined up to Canaga to be in line for the lights. It's amazing. It's been a tremendous, I think, the economic impact that comes from that, whether it's, people getting gas here and the gas tax, or people, on their way into town, stopping at local restaurants and stopping at local stores, or especially now if people are able to really walk through they can stop over at one of our downtown stores along 2nd or along Court Street and really take in the vibrance of what our community has to offer. And I think that the vision that people like Sherry Rocky and Lance Clifford and those people had in the very, very beginning, when people thought, well, what's it really going to look like when we're hanging chicken wire from the trees? Like, how festive can that be? And now you look at it and you're just, it's an amazing, amazing display. Ohio Valley Bank, we talk about local. What sets, if you're a person looking for a bank, you're a young person who's starting, to get into savings, or you're looking to buy a home, or whatever the case may be, or it's somebody who, has been with a national chain bank for years and is just not happy with being, maybe they see themselves as a number in a certain thing. Or maybe they've moved in from the area and they've been with a bank from, the Columbus or wherever, and now they're looking for a local bank. What sets Ohio Valley Bank apart as a local institution as opposed to a national, say, chain bank?
Well, it's the people, and it's always the people. When you go to Ohio Valley Bank, you're dealing with people that, in most cases, grew up here, or if you happen to be in Jackson or Waverly or one of our other markets, they grew up there. And so they know the community, they know the people, they know the needs, they understand the challenges that face the community, but they know the customers. We have customers that make sure that they come to the bank on certain days because they want to deal with certain people. Mm-hmm. When I move around our footprint and go visit some of our branches, especially the drive-thrus, it's amazing to me the conversations that go on between our folks in the drive-thru and the people that are driving through that mm-hmm. obviously are regular customers, and they ask about their kids and their dogs and family members and so forth, and it's just it's local. It's a small business mm-hmm.
Working with other small businesses and with individuals to make the community a better place. And I remember, even as a kid going through the drive-thru, and you got the little 5 or 6 piece lifesavers.
Oh yeah.
That was for years and years, and we always looked forward to going through the bank line with mom or grandma or grandpa or whoever, because we knew somebody was passing out the lifesavers. And then you move on, and I remember the student banking club, where kids could start an account, and they had a little laminated card, and you could go to, which back then it was, Bruna Cardi's or the Shoe Cafe, and you showed them your card where you had a savings account with the bank, and you got 10% off, or you got something, a little something when you left, and those programs established in my mind as a child, and then growing older, that Ohio Valley Bank had been there for us for forever. In the 6th grade, we had a school store, was part of one of our classes, and people from all through the grade school could come and buy pencils or whatever. But we took out a $50 loan through the bank, and then to buy all of our supplies for that, and that helped us learn how do interest rates work. We had, it was just as, we could have been borrowing $50,000 to us, but it was an education in how banking works. And those things, now you still do things that are giving back and teaching people, and now you have the things like the personalized fundraising debit cards. How did that first get started, and how many are you up to now?
Oh gosh, those are hard questions.
40? I'm getting a sign from the outside
right.
that it's up to 40.
Well, that's a good thing. There's up to 40 now. And those were designed to help various organizations to be better identified and to help them with their fundraising by offering a debit card where they actually get something back from it. Mm-hmm. And what happens is the folks that are interested in that particular organization, they'll come in and they'll get their debit card, and help the organization in that way. So those have been very popular. It seems like about every week we're doing a new one. So.
Right. In the Chamber of Commerce, we have one, and I carry it proudly. And $10, I think, to get the special card, and $5 of that goes back to the organization. So that's very helpful, and we appreciate that, and I'm sure all of the other organizations do as well. Another special program that you offer is for home buyers, and that's the Rent Buster program, and that's been a pretty popular thing throughout our community. Can you tell us a little bit about the Rent Buster program and how it benefits home buyers?
Yes, absolutely. Rick Swain, who happens to manage our Waverly office, I believe was the one who came up with the Rent Buster idea. And of course, the whole basis behind it is, what can we do to help somebody own their first home? And so many people don't have money for a down payment, and so we created this Rent Buster, which is 100% financing, and we've been able to put scores of people in their first homes, and it's been a very successful program. It has. I think when you start a program like that, I think our regulators and folks like that would say, well, you can't do that. That's going to, if you do 100% financing, you're going to get burned down the road somewhere. Right. Well, we have not. People take great pride in that first home, and in most cases, they make sure that they get it paid for. Right. So it's been a very successful program.
As things throughout our community, country, just everywhere changes, every industry has seen mega changes when it comes to the way they do business, whether it be because of the pandemic or just technology in general. What do you see in the future possibly that banking looks like, or any big changes do you foresee coming in the way people are doing their banking?
Well, I feel like you're chasing technology all the time, and we've been, I wouldn't say we were on the bleeding edge, but we have been on the leading edge in several instances over the years with new technology, and we try to continue that. Customers expect a small community bank like ours, they expect us to have the same technology that the big banks do.
Absolutely.
And so we have to do that. And I think that's only going to become more and more of a demand as we go forward. What we have seen, particularly here through COVID, is that people are not coming to the bank. They don't have to. They can bank online, through their phone, any number of ways, but they don't need to really come into the bank. And I think you'll see fewer and fewer branches as we go forward. I think you'll see more and more people not coming to the bank, banking online, and that sort of thing. It's hard to tell where technology is going to take us.
Right.
I know, you can take a picture now of your check and deposit it at home. Who would have ever thought you could
Right. That still
10 years
blows
ago.
me away.
So, we have folks within the bank that spend the bulk of their time looking at technology, trying to determine which way we need to go next. They attend technology conferences. The big thing is fintech now, and fintech can be both a partner to and a competitor to banks.
Right.
So we have to keep that in mind. Cryptocurrency is something that we're starting to have to talk about. Believe it or not, there's more people in Gallia County that dabble in cryptocurrency than you might think.
Yeah, and I have family who dabbles as well, and I am all about technology, but it scares me to death. And the new thing, these NFTs, these non-fungible tokens, and you can buy a picture of something and put it on your wall, and you own that, and you can pay thousands, millions of dollars for this thing. But I can screenshot that same picture and print it and put it in a frame for free. So I don't understand why mine's worthless and yours is worth $2 million. So there are the cryptocurrency and that whole digital realm terrifies me, because I know that if I have my money invested with, whether it's the NASDAQ or mutual funds or whatever the case may be, or I have it in a savings account where my money is insured, and I know that my money, when I go to get whatever's in there, is in there. I have a family member who had a crypto wallet and woke up one day and it was missing like $16,000, and it's still missing. I've never woke up and checked my bank account and had $16,000 missing, and if it was, I know I can call somebody 2 blocks from here, and I'm going to have somebody working personally on that. And so, yeah, I think that cryptocurrency thing is scary to a lot of people, and knowing that the bank is keeping an eye on that, that shows that as a local bank, you're still keeping up with these national situations, so to speak. A lot of changes since you've been in Gallia Police, from storefronts to decrease in residency, now maybe seeing somewhat of a upswing in trying to get people back into the downtowns. There for a while, you had big boxes drawing people out into the community. Outside of being in the bank, just being a lifelong resident of Gallia County, what do you see as maybe some of the positives? Why should people look at Gallia County and say, that's where I need to raise my family, or that's where I want to go establish my life?
Well, of course, we're all biased,
right,
from being here, but I can't think of a better place to raise my kids. And having done that, and now my grandkids, most of them are here as well. It's safe. Yes, we've got probably more crime now than we did when I was a youngster, but it's still a relatively safe community to be in. Our schools are good. We have a university here. We've got an outstanding medical facility that I fear that some folks take for granted. And our downtown, it's not what it was 40 years ago, but it's still an unbelievable downtown. Mm-hmm. I mentioned earlier in our conversation Arthur Miller, who actually lives in Washington State, and he was here to visit me last week, and he's traveled all over the country, and he made the comment, there's not a place in this country that has what Gallia Police has when you talk about a downtown surrounding the city park with the river. Mm-hmm. And he's right. And you can go up and down the river for miles and you won't find anything quite like this. It's just a wonderful place to live, to work, to enjoy, all the things that we do have. It's easy to complain about what we don't have, but my goodness, think of what we do have.
That's it.
We've got the river, we've got the forest around us, and we got great people.
I agree. With that note, we've come to the end of our time already.
Oh,
Tom, I appreciate you stopping by. Exciting things happening at the High Valley Bank, and we here at the Chamber very much appreciate what you do for us and for the community, and we look forward to many more things down the road.
Well, Josh, thank you very much for having us.
Join us again next week, every Friday afternoon and every Sunday morning on 93.1 WJEH for the next episode of The Talk of the Town. Thanks. See you then.